Welcome to what is my personal favorite event, not only of Wednesday's agenda, but of the entire Rhode Island Startup Week, the Calamari Tank. And what could be more Rhode Island than taking Shark Tank and making a calamari tank? I love this. I'm Pat Sabatino. I'm going to be your host for today. As you know, for those of you who know Shark Tank, normally there are three sharks and people that are pitching them. We have three squids. We have our returning all-female squid squad from last year, and I'll introduce them in just a minute. But the best part is, after all the people pitch, at the end, there's going to be a poll, and you guys get to pick the winners, and there are real prizes behind this. So fantastic. Let's go ahead and kick this off. Along the way, I'm going to be tossing out a little calamari trivia as well throughout the event. So the first fun fact, we'll start with a softball that everyone probably knows. Calamari is the official appetizer of the state of Rhode Island. Golf clap, everyone loves that. And we'll skip all the irony of a vegetarian talking about calamari. I would just take one moment, if you will, before we start, to thank our sponsors. We have some wonderful sponsors that have helped us throughout the event. Leah, you're going to throw up the sponsor slide? I'll go ahead and name them off. Cox Business, Bryant University, Verizon, Adler, Pollock and Sheehan, TriNet, First Republic, Rogue Venture Partners, Brown University, Slater Technology Fund, Markham, Bridge Technical Talent, Rhode Island Commerce, and Skills for Rhode Island. We really want to thank every one of our Skills for Rhode Island's Future. We want to thank all our sponsors for their tremendous support in helping us make this event a reality. For all our attendees, remember there's still other events coming up. You can sign up for all of them at the RI Startup Week website. They're all recorded. You don't have to watch them all right now. If you have any technical difficulties, RIHub is monitoring the hotline. Just send them an email at help@rihub.org to go ahead and get some assistance. So here we are. Let's go ahead and introduce the squids. And with that, I'm going to give you the second fun fact for Rhode Island Startup Week in calamari. Calamari comes from long fin squid, which is also known as loligo. There you go. Last year, we did have this event for the first time. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us again. You guys did an outstanding job last year. We could not be more thrilled to have you all back. Allison Bologna returns for her third year, actually, on Calamari Tank. She's an award-winning journalist anchoring NBC Providence's 10 News Sunrise. She was voted the top female top female reporter for the region for 2 years and best TV morning news anchor every year since. When she's not on the air, she runs Shri Studio, Service Corps, and Bark. Shri serves over 8,500 residents each year with yoga outreach programs delivered by more than 40 certified teachers in schools, shelters, hospitals, recovery centers, veterans, social service agencies, and more. And we heard in our Monday morning session, Danny Warshay from Brown talk about entrepreneurs actually giving back. And Allison, you are a great example of that. Your Shri Snack Line helps fund your nonprofit arm while also feeding more than 40,000 students every month in schools statewide. You're a graduate of Northwestern, Columbia, and Harvard. And we have here that you live in Pawtucket with your partner, Dave, and your two dogs, Betty and Basil. So, hey, Allison, really appreciative. Thank you so much for being back with us. Anne-Marie Harrington, thank you so much for joining us as well. Anne-Marie is an entrepreneur, a two-time founder with 2 exits, an investor, and a board member. Anne-Marie is just flat out impressive. She has an extensive industry experience in technology, go-to-market, and emerging digital strategies. Anne-Marie's expertise has its roots in her work as a founder and CEO of a digital firm in Bolden, which was acquired in 2014, and is an architect of many large technology and software solutions, as an advisor and a partner in early-stage technology companies. She's at the forefront of developing digital solutions to engage employees and stakeholders in corporate ESG priorities as the co-founder of Employee Vitals, which was acquired by Selflessly in 2021. Congratulations. Anne-Marie enjoys her work as a national speaker and a presenter on technology, engagement strategies, and business intelligence analytics. That's something I personally love. Her civic and leadership has included serving as a director of the Rhode Island Foundation, which again, thank you for giving back to our state. Anne-Marie chairs the Impact Investing Committee as a board trustee at Bryant University. And Anne-Marie has won a host of awards in her career, including recognition as the 2009 Small Business Person of the Year for Rhode Island via the U.S. Small Business Administration. Anne-Marie, thank you so much for your time with us today. Natalie Hogan, last but by far not least, we welcome Natalie. Natalie is the COO of HOS, a new company that helps people engineer their own prosperity. Previously, she was the Chief Administrative Officer at Data Robot. You know, I'm a softie for any business with the word data in it. And she was Program Manager at Hasbro. She has legit roots in our startup ecosystem from her days going back to Beta Spring. So for those of you who know real entrepreneurial roots in our state, you know, Beta Spring, those who were part of Beta Spring, they are the, if you will, the entrepreneurial OGs of our state. Natalie received a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Sculpture and Art History from RISD, quite impressive. She is an East Side of PVD resident. In her spare time, she enjoys running. So Natalie, thank you for joining us. Before we kick off, let's have our third interesting calamari fact. Squid is Rhode Island's most valuable fishery. More than 22 million pounds of squid are landed each year, mainly at the Port of Galilee in my hometown of Narragansett, and it's worth roughly $28 million a year. That's a lot of fish. All right. So here's how it's going to work. We've got 3 great startups. Each is going to get 10 minutes to pitch our judges. Our good friend Mia Nolan from RiHub, she is going to be the timekeeper, and she's going to apply the hammer to them if they go over. Okay, they can use a deck, they can show a product. The floor is theirs, it's up to them, but it's 10 minutes. Each pitch will be followed by a 5-minute Q&A by our squids. So here the squids will do the grilling instead of being grilled. Okay. As a reminder, this is Calamari Tank, not Squid Games. The losers will not meet an untimely death at the end of the competition. However, they will be judged. And you guys get the vote for the winner. So there will be a Zoom poll posted in the chat at the end of all the presentations and Q&A, and we'll have a 2-minute period where we compile the results by our esteemed panel of judges on the back end, and we will hand out some prizes at the end. Now on to our contestants. Contestants, get yourself settled and ready. We are about to go live for you here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start our first founder with our last founder. Okay, so our final contestant, which is now our first contestant, is Storytime Online. And we are joined today by a gentleman I know well, we've met many times, Andres Altenberg. Andres, please pitch the squids. 10 minutes starts now.
Wonderful. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. I'm in a good mood now. Jumping. Here we go. This is a little humorous, but also can be nerve-wracking. So happy to see so many friendly faces in the audience. Storytime Online. We give children around the world access to children's books, translated and narrated in diverse languages. So the reason why we do this is because there are global populations of hundreds of millions of families and teachers around the world who still today do not have access to children's books, a fundamental educational resource in their relevant languages. The reason for this is that the publishing industry is not designed to support diversity. They're not designed to produce in minority languages for their local geographies. And what this causes are disparities in the education and the availability of resources for minority children. Because of this, they become less literate, and it delays their cognitive development, especially when they're traveling and migrating during the ages of 3 to 10. Now, we solve this in a very simple way. We work with translators and narrators around the world. We take books from authors and publishers, and we translate them. We have them narrated. We publish them on our reading platform in a child-friendly, interactive format that is easy enough for 3-year-olds to use autonomously. We have books from countries around the world to give children access to different cultures so that they can learn about tolerance, they can learn about the beauties of our diverse global community. Our books include, of course, the narrations, as well as engaging materials like sound effects and critical thinking exercises to train their cognitive skills and improve their literacy skills. And we do all of this providing teachers and parents and children with unlimited access to books in their languages for $5 a month, a price that is affordable for low-income families and in developing regions. This sustains the production of books, which cost us only $30 to produce in any language. And we also pay royalties to authors so that they can earn by publishing with us internationally and interculturally. They also pay us, of course, the publishers and the authors to publish to cover the upfront cost, but they earn long-term, achieving their goals as authors to impact more communities, more children, and earn some money. So it's like Spotify for children's books. There are several use cases where this applies. Here we have a case of the Laotian population from Laos in Southeast Asia, and their migration to France. There are about 200,000 Laotians in France. This is only one example of one cultural population in one country. You see that the Storytime Online and the books can be used for education within the country, where they don't have reliable access to children's books in their own language. It can be used for preparation before migration, learning a target language before moving. Then it's of course used during the assimilation to learn the target language of the new host country, as well as maintain the connection and strengthen the connection to the home culture. And of course, for educators in that country or any country to explore different cultures, different languages in their language courses. And working with nonprofits and NGOs for the Sustainable Development Goals, we are already developing partnerships to support developing regions. So here are some fantastic quotes from some people with whom we've worked, even some customers. This is calling it truly unique. I have enough time, so I can talk about this stuff because it's a very simple concept. So another CEO of an edtech company, she completely believes in this. So I'm very happy to have her support. She's actually a mentor and advisor from MIT, working in the media center there. My new COO that I'm bringing on, I got this quote before I'm bringing her on as COO. She believes, with experience in international market expansion in developing countries, she believes that the simplicity of Storytime Online will help it to reach more of a global market. And this is, of course, my favorite quote here. This is from the Office of Refugee Resettlement, an agent there. This is a real quote. That's why I put it here. But we're currently exploring a partnership with them to assist the minority, of course, the refugee children, minors, and helping them gain access to books, right? And the last quote is from a teacher at a local school in Rhode Island. Actually, not a teacher, the director, with whom I'm now close friends. And if anybody knows about the TV interview that was recorded, that's where we recorded with the kindergarten class there. And this past Monday, I was a substitute teacher there for kindergarten for the first time. And I definitely have a new respect for teachers, especially at that young age. It is not easy, but it's fun and very rewarding. So moving on, how do we compare now to the existing services, the existing offerings? Well, again, the print industry, the print publishing industry is not designed to support diversity. And you really only find the books in a bookstore or a library. So if those are closed or you don't have the money to pay $10, $15, $20 for each children's book, then you're priced out. There are some digital platforms that offer children's books online. However, they focus on specific languages, especially the English, some in Spanish, but even many people in Latin America aren't aware of it. And for independent authors, well, they have to do all of the work to publish themselves. Of course, the dream is to be signed with a publisher, but less than 1% of authors are signed with a publisher. Now, for the authors and the publishers, we offer our services as a co-opetition model, especially for the publishers. We do compete with them on the digital level, but we help them because they cannot compete on a digital level for fear of a trade war with other large publishers. They're stuck in a prisoner's dilemma situation. So we help them by offering a third-party platform and support their publication internationally and interculturally by working with our network of translators and narrators around the world, making books more accessible for diverse communities. Now, I know this is a busy page. You don't need to look at it, but it's because a lot has happened and a lot will happen. So this is the reality. So listen to me rather than looking at this. I started this 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago. I got a grant from the German government, but that was about all that Germany gave me in terms of support. So I came here to Rhode Island, and the support here has been astronomical. I'm in the RIHub incubator, where I know many of you. And recently I've been in the Mass Challenge Accelerator program. I also had my first PR through RIHub and many connections through which I've developed partnerships, including with PBS, starting a formal partnership with PBS this month to support families in Rhode Island, and then nationwide next year. I also have worked with a Ukrainian Heritage Society to produce books for the Ukrainian refugees, and of course, exploring with the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Next year, around the corner, will be launched. I'm doing fundraising now. We'll talk about that in a moment. But there's a lot more on the horizon. I have partnerships with several schools around the world, 4 schools, to both produce more stories as coursework and also as customers to use it.
Time.
As was really okay. Should have set the timer. Thank you.
Okay, Squids, it's your turn. We're going to start for Storytime Online with Allison. Allison, if you'd ask your questions, hand off to Anne Marie and then to Natalie.
Well, thank you so much for this. I love the idea. I can't believe it doesn't really exist already in some way, shape, or form. So that's one of my questions, but you kind of answered it with the slide. A question I do have for you, though, is what if there is a technical divide and in a particular country, a child can't get their hands on a tablet or something digital through which to play? I have ideas on how you might be able to solve that problem, but I'm wondering if you already figured that out.
Well, thank you. That's one of the most interesting questions that I hear. More than 60% of the world currently has access to the internet. Of course, that leaves 40% without access. What people usually ask about are refugees, whether they have devices for this. And believe it or not, what people do have, even if they have nothing else, no passport, no money, at the very least, they have their smartphone. And everybody has a smartphone, even if it's a cheap one from China. So it is accessible also for people in hardship. And for those regions that do not have the infrastructure yet, the 40%, there are ways that I'm exploring with different partners moving on to years 2, years 3, in providing them with tablets, providing schools with tablets with access to story time online, as well as other educational resources for art, drawing, math, and other topics. Yeah.
Yep, and I'm going to remind all our contestants, there's only 5 minutes for 3 squids to ask questions, so I'm going to ask all of you to try to provide some brevity. I really appreciate the detail, but I'm going to ask now that we each provide some brevity to these answers so that we can get through all the questions.
So you're not live yet, but you're looking to go live, you said, in the next month. And do you have any anticipation about how many subscribers you might have right out of the gate?
Yeah, we did a soft launch and that gave 10,000 views from 80 countries. So we already have some really nice traction with zero marketing, zero ad spend. We're expecting about 40, 50,000 subscribers in the next year, launching 25 languages.
Well, I'm a journalist, so I love telling stories, so I appreciate this. Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Andreas, I love this idea. I've been seeing a growing number and a trending interest in education, particularly education around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'm super happy that you were able to get that slide in and all of your accomplishments to date. Congratulations. So really great idea. I'm looking specifically, my question is around scalability, putting the effort and time into acquiring the books, translating the books, and doing all the work for the audio translations, etc. Have you been able to pin down what the cost is to actually produce a book and get it into production? And also looking at, you have 100 books, I think you said, that are in production, and looking at the scalability of that over the course of the next year or so.
Yes, so working with the translators, narrators, audio cutting, everything, the whole process costs $30 per book, which is extremely scalable because we take one book, we recycle it for all of the different languages. And once we have the formatting for one, we just plug in the new text and the new audio for the others. So it's extremely efficient operations. And
the cost to you is $30, Andreas?
$30,
okay.
$30 per book.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Amazing.
extremely scalable in that regard. Yeah. So we don't need 10,000, 30,000 books. We need a few thousand to provide enough content for different reading levels in the different languages.
Great. I'm going to hand it off to Natalie.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Andreas, great pitch. You know, I'm interested, you've got this really incredible mission, but there's a ton of commercial opportunity for your company and your product. How do you plan to balance that and make sure that your mission remains front and center, and then that's part of the value that you're delivering to your customers?
Well, one thing that we offer currently is that it's free for refugees. Of course, yeah, there is a mission, and we need to be conscientious of the people that even can't afford those $5, right? There's enough money to be made in this industry and with this startup where we can still be mission forward. And the organizations and the investors that I've already spoken with and we're developing agreements with, they hold true to that. They believe in that and they support it.
Amazing, thank you.
All right, is that it? That's it. That's our 5 minutes of Squid questions. Andreas, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I am going to go on to one more quick calamari fact here. And I thought this was interesting. And again, I'm going to thank Mia for providing this fact to me from an article she found in the Westerly Sun. But about 80% of the squid that's caught in Rhode Island is frozen, loaded onto trucks, and then onto container ships. It's unloaded in China, thawed, processed, refrozen, put back on container ships, back to trucks, back to Rhode Island. An incredibly environmentally unfavorable way to do things. And there's actually an advocacy group called Eating with the Ecosystem that's trying to solve this. We need to have space here in Rhode Island to process the squid. We need wastewater treatment to deal with the waste from those things. But we certainly shouldn't need to have to be sending our catch halfway around the world to be processed and sent back. I'm sure we as a state can get together and solve that one. On to our second contestant, which was our first contestant. We're going to go back to Lore and Hope. I understand we've hacked the system and we found a way to make this work. So Hope, your 10 minutes starts now.
Great. So we're going to put up our first slide here. Here we are. Great. I'll just let you, oh, can you go back really quick? So I'll just say next and then we'll click through them. So hi, thank you so much for helping us through this little technological blip, but very excited to be here. I'm one of the co-founders of Lore. My name's Hope Parrish. We are Lore Mighty Foods, and we are a brand new emerging brand in the functional food space. And we kind of coin, ancient foods for modern times. So going back to our plant-based roots and deriving benefits from foods that actually function. Next slide, please. So what I'm going to share with you today is we are first to market, but with what we feel is a major disruptor within this category. We have chosen to blend functional mushrooms and the benefit of mushrooms in everyone's favorite snack, chocolate. Next slide, please. So why chocolates and mushrooms? We get a lot of brow raises for that. I think that mushrooms are starting to take center stage. When we talk about mushrooms, we're talking about the adaptogenic kind. So we're looking at what science has already vetted as to be truly beneficial. So kind of maybe where CBD was 3-4 years ago, where it was being infused in pharmaceuticals, skincare, cosmetics, foods. We are looking at mushrooms for that. So when we look at mushrooms, it's really incredible. Humans share 50% of their DNA with this plant, so our bodies know what to do with it. So why not put it in chocolate? Next slide, please. So really quick about our business, very proud to share. We are 100% women-owned, women-led. So our 3 partners here all come from a background of prior entrepreneurial experience. We've brought our own brands to the big box retailers, and this is the first time we're all collaborating on this project together. Next slide, please. So again, just jumping back into the mushrooms and being the market disruptor. Again, adaptogenic mushrooms. I want to just go back and kind of make sure that there's no confusion. These are not psilocybin, psychedelic. These are ones that science has vetted as having a physiologic benefit to our bodies. And next slide, please. I'm going to kind of run through these fast. So when we look at the functional mushroom space, there's so many. Typically, these are ones that you don't usually find in your market or are using in a culinary sense. Turkey tail, lion's mane, chaga, maitake, reishi, shiitake, cordyceps. Those are the mushrooms that we've vetted as to having some of like the biggest claims to benefits. So these are the ones we specifically have taken to R&D and incorporated in our product. Next slide, please. So I think the other special story, part of our story, is the raw cacao. So I think when we hear of chocolate, there are so many different kinds, right? So we've heard of organic or 80% cacao, milk chocolate. But I think one of the biggest learnings for us as we kind of explored this route is 99% of chocolate is roasted. So when you roast chocolate, you kill those antioxidants and flavonoids that give the actual plant the benefit. So leaving those intact and not roasting at high temperatures allows us to make the chocolate all by itself a superfood. Next slide, please. So just to jump back to some of our ethos for our company, we are an eco-friendly brand. And so one of our farming practices that we're very proud to tout is regenerative farming. So this is actually our business partner, Kai. She flew to the Amazon rainforest in Peru 3 months ago and vetted our farming practices. So, in terms of commitment to our planet and being responsible and sustainable, it's a big part of our mission. Next slide, please. So when we talk about opportunity and market readiness for something like this, I think COVID pushed us here. So when we look at what's happening in the dietary supplement market, at the global functional mushroom market, as you can see on this slide, there are just huge explosive trends in terms of growth across these categories. So and truly, we feel the time is now to bring a product like this to market and be first on shelf in this form. Next slide, please. So again, when we talk about our target audience, our product being plant-based, it is appealing to a vegan, paleo, keto enthusiasts. We're also gluten-free, lactose-free. So in terms of any of those dietary sensitivities, we've kind of covered that. I think you would find your wellness enthusiast or trendy wellness enthusiast here, but also we're looking at targeting sports nutrition and offering new plant-based solutions to performance, function, repair, restore. And again, these slides also show just some fun stats in terms of the consumer who is also now looking for, even in snack and chocolate, an additional benefit. Next slide, please. So here we are. This is our Better Together blend. So this is our raw cacao and adaptogenic mushroom blend. Again, first to market. We put it in a bonbon, which is unique, and gonna show you all of our next 4 flavors. So next slide, please. So coming to a shelf near you, Q1, we have organized our blends into 4 different offerings. So a customer can either shop us by their palette or flavor, or actually the benefit or physical property they're looking to enhance. So we have a stress reducing blend, which is a mint ganache, an immune boosting, which is a salted caramel cashew, restore and repair, which is maple almond butter, and focus and performance, which is hazelnut espresso. Next slide, please. So what we're hoping is our customer will take that 4-pack and try us out and love us, and then we become a routine. So we have a 15-day and a 30-day routine. And again, this will be living in your supplement, health and beauty, wellness space, so to speak. Next slide, please. So when we talk about our bonbons, I am very proud to explain that we are a full supplement. So we are a 2,000 milligram supplement of adaptogenic mushrooms. So as mushrooms are kind of taking space in this market, everyone's adding a little bit here and there. We've vetted the process of being a full 2,000 milligram supplement. So each bonbon is 1,000 milligrams. We're 60 calories. We're, again, no added refined sugars, no sugar alcohols, 100% plant-based. Next slide, please. So proven capabilities, super excited. We are co-packing here in Westerly. So our chocolate factory is here in Westerly. We are organic certified in terms of distribution, warehousing, logistics, we're all locked up. Next slide, please. These next 2 you can kind of flip through quickly. This is our marketing strategy. So just showing where we're choosing to put our dollars behind to come to market. We're working with a lot of great athletes and brand ambassadors and who are going to help champion the brand and point consumers to shelf. Next slide, please. And this is just a quick sell sheet that we share with our buyers in terms of our wholesale pricing and our MSRP, as well as our offerings for case pack size and quantities. Next slide. Oh. No. One more towards the end. I think that, yeah, that was our last slide. So in terms of presentation, that's it, but I am excited because this is my favorite part of the presentation, is actually eating one of these really great bonbons right now. So there you have it. I'd love to hear any questions, and I hope I have your taste buds excited.
All right, so Squids, we are going to change up the order for presenter number 2. We're going to start with Anne Marie. We're going to go to Natalie, and then on to Allison.
Hope, great job. Very interesting. I love chocolate. I'm not going to say I'm the biggest fan of mushrooms, but anything with chocolate is good. You're in a big marketplace. You're in a big and very competitive marketplace. I'm actually just looked down while you were talking. My gummy supplement for vitamin D is right here. Pop that in. Has a little bit of sugar in there, which is kind of nice as well. So you're in a really big market right now. You talked a little bit about the marketplace. I have just a quick question about this. One on the beginning of the journey, and one at the end, which is, have you proven out that people like the taste? Yes, people like or want something with mushrooms and want that supplement. So I'm curious about some of the research that you've done up front. And then on the other end, looking at marketing and the marketing spend. When you go to market, have you carved out what spend that will be?
Great questions. So we one of our business partners is an established chocolatier. So in regards to the recipe and blends for the chocolate itself, it has already been established. It's already in mainstream, in Whole Foods, etc. So in terms of R&D and blending the mushroom adaptogens, that is not something that you are tasting. So that is blended within whatever that creamy center is. So again, there is no earthy taste, there is no mushroom taste. It's very well, disguised, if you will, in all 100% plant-based, ingredients. So I think we've got the recipe nailed in regards to that. In terms of marketing spend, yes, that's a very pointed question, especially as where we're at right now. So we are anticipating a Q1 launch. And we actually do have commitments from GNC and CVS at this point right now. So we're really excited to kind of focus there as our first opportunity with customers, see where we're best merchandised in store. The way to support that is, we're kind of turning on a lot of different channels here. So, in terms of TikTok, we've got a great educational channel there. We're looking into podcasts as well, but we're really kind of spreading our fingers in terms of like culinary space, different types of structured athletes and targeting that wellness consumer that's already there. Again, a lot of that's going to, need a lot of in-store support, promotion, as well as online direct to consumer. So all of that is, is layered within our business plan with a lot of dollar marks to that. So.
Excellent. All right, I think I'm up next. Hope, I can't wait to try one of these. I'm definitely look for them in the store. I'm curious about your decision to position this in the supplement aisle instead of in the chocolate aisle. Can you tell me about that decision?
Yeah, that was a tough one actually to get to. I think when, we've had 3 different trade shows, we've got a lot of buyer feedback. And so that was kind of our point this summer, is to meet with chocolate, candy, and supplement buyers and really kind of that where our product best lives. So in terms of like a better for you category of chocolate, we definitely win. How stores support that, I think as we look at our national grocers who are going to be our target market, there's a lot of play there where we can be like an impulse buy. We could live next to specialty and better for you, but we want to be in the supplement space because in terms of supplement growth right now with the adaptogens, it is our best play in terms of kind of representing ourselves as a trusted brand who is again supplementing at the right dose, vetting the right things. So, when we look at who our competitors are in that space, with mushrooms and, Four Sigmatic and other pieces, I think that should be a new form factor, ready to go, ready to eat. It's nothing to be blended or added to. I think it's just a great solve for a supplement on the go as well as a snack.
Thank you.
I'm just curious about what the price point is from the 4-pack to the 15 to the 30. And also, what does the name mean? How did you come up with the name?
That's great. So our prices, so to try us as a 4-pack, kind of like as an impulse buy, we are at $469, and our 15-day routine is $24.99, and our 30-day routine is $48.99. So again, looking at that 30-day window and doing a cost analysis across, what other adaptogens are kind of marketing at, I think we're definitely well seated there. Lore, it was one of those, it's like naming a baby, right? Your child. It's like we lamented over this process. I think when you think of the word lore or folklore, it kind of elicits, information and knowledge passed on from generation to generation, being plant-based and having mushrooms be, a true source of medicinal benefit, thousands of years ago. We felt like it just kind of rose to the top for us and tells the story well. And
Calling
it's also
time.
yeah, and it was just, you know, we got a handle, we got our, you know, our website. So it was also worked on other levels there too.
Thank you.
Me as being the time cop, keeping us all on schedule here. Before we go to our last squid, I'm going to give you one more fun fact. Every September, the Narragansett Chamber of Commerce holds the Rhode Island Calamari Festival. Among various events, there's a great calamari cook-off and voting to pick the best calamari in the state. It's just another great reason to come on down and see me in Narragansett. All right, our final contestant, which was our second contestant, as we have been working the levers and the machines in the background to get this all straight, is Nuad, and we have their founder, Charles, with us again. Charles, let's take it away.
Good afternoon. Am I sharing screen? Is somebody else? I have no clue.
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So my name is Charles Johnson. I am with Nuad Single Hand Video Game Controllers. And years ago, I was playing video games with my cousin. Unfortunately, my cousin was born with a birth defect and was born without his left hand and half of his forearm. So to play video games, he would actually take a standard controller and place it on the coffee table. But unfortunately, he couldn't reach all of the buttons to play effectively and fast and competitively. And that's actually the joy of playing video games. And this is the actual problem with the standard video game controller and all controllers. They're actually intended to be made and to be played with two hands, going back all the way to the first Nintendo controller up until today's standard controller. They're all intended to be played with two hands. And this limits the estimated 46 million disabled video game players. Gamers like my cousin who were born with limitations, or gamers like wounded war veterans, or even one of the 6 million Americans each year who break a bone, you know, kids, you know, skateboarding or, you know, playing football and things like that. And coincidentally, we also feel that our single hand design also solves another problem. You know, what about gamers who want to eat pizza or text message or talk on the phone? They cannot do any of those things. And we all know right now, one gamer who would like a free hand to multitask. It's legal in Rhode Island, cut it out. But the solution to this, we feel, is the Nuad single hand video game controller. The Nuad single hand video game controller takes all of the buttons from a standard controller and remaps them so that they can be played with one hand. You know, from this side, we have our triggers, which are represented at the bottom, and our standard controllers there. The patented design of Nuad single hand video game controllers, you know, the beauty of it, it is left hand. It is also right hand universal. Our controller comes with a non-slip base and is also wireless. Additionally, we do have a few designs of this controller now. One of the other things we also believe is that, you know, similar to the last presenter, we believe we are a market disruptor as well. As you see on the screen, here are the two other inclusive video game controllers. One on the top left, you could see the Microsoft one, and then on the top right, that is known as the Axis video game controller. And we feel that our controller in the middle solves all problems with both of these. To product comparison, you can see that we are wireless. We are on numerous systems, which the other game systems are not. If you're on, obviously, if you the Microsoft one is simply geared to Microsoft, we feel that one of the financial advantages that we have is actually our console is our controller can be played on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox. And combined, that is actually 2 billion gamers in 2020. Moving on, just in terms of looking at a total market, in terms of 46 million disabled gamers, we see that potentially 60% deal with hand and arm limitations, but also looking at the non-limited gaming market, you can also see, for instance, that the largest number of gamers would be kind of in that video game accessory, niche market of 18 plus gamers as well. We also looked at it, financially, the total accessible market in terms of, births per day, disabilities per day, and even looking at it financially. We expect to get every single one of those gamers, and in terms of looking at that financial, you can see the financial perspective as well. The total overall gaming market, as you could see, we believe we can target to accessible gaming, recreational gaming, avid gamers, and also at the same time, Wii is now defunct, but we think we can get some of those Wii gamers because the similarity in terms of the controller. Just taking an overall aspect look at the market is unbelievably big. They estimated about $180 billion spent on video games and about 2.8 spent just on accessories alone. So where are we now? We have a USPTO design patent. We have also product tested our market. We are working with Polaris MEP to find the absolute perfect manufacturer out there. We are taking pre-orders for our controllers. Politely, we are being harassed by a UK-based accessibility gaming company to actually fulfill orders. And one of the things that we are greatest to talk about is we've actually just partnered with Able Gamers. Able Gamers is by far the world's largest nonprofit organization that deals with accessibility in gaming. In terms of our go-to-market, strategy, we believe that partnership, people in promotion will get us there. Partnering with these great companies that are already in the accessible gaming market. We also feel it would be kind of an unusual spin to start targeting specifically to professional gamers that are in the single hand market as well. I've got some fun facts too, Pat. I don't want to step on your toes, sir, but Calamari is actually derived from the 17th century Latin medieval term that actually means pot pen, just in case you wanted to know. Just some other random fun facts. The gaming accessible market, believe it or not, is growing. One of the other fun facts is the esports championship winner just made more than Wimbledon. So we can definitely see that this is a market that is growing. Esports market, just a little fun side fact, actually has now gone mainstream that on Fridays, it is actually an international competition of esports gamers. And just other random side facts, 2.8 billion gamers worldwide. And last but not least, we feel that that there is about 53% of US homes have at least one console. And that is Nawad single-hand video game controllers.
Thank you, Charles. Now I'm going to hand it off to our squids. The order for Nawad is going to be Natalie. You get first crack, Allison, and then Anne-Marie.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Charles, I love the passion and energy that you bring to your pitch. How did these perform compared to a traditional two-handed controller? Like, do you think you could get the same KD ratio with your single-hand controller that you would with your traditional controller?
Actually, that's a great question. So the beauty of this is we use a similar PCB board in these, and actually there is no lag time between button pressing and actual gameplay. So it's right on point with the standard video game controller.
Thank you.
Hi, Charles. Allison
Hello.
here. Does anything like this exist right now, or do people just manipulate whatever they have?
100% exactly what happens. Most gamers, some have actually tried to 3D print and put the analog on the bottom, but for the most part, they just adapt to the controller they have. There is not a specific single-hand video game controller that allows you literally just to play, just to pull it down a little bit. I seem to be extremely comfortable playing, for me, coffee table, on the couch, or, just a general table. What most consoles have done is similar to the Xbox One that I showed. It's a flat pad that you plug in the specific buttons that you need. So this patent design is for this one specifically. There is no other controller like this on the market. And before you ask, Allison, I got my name from Nawad Ergitlin, who happens to be a Celtic Robin Hood king who lost an arm in battle. Just before you ask, that's all. That's all.
Okay, definitely. And a very basic question. I think names are important, especially when you put it to a product because the thought goes into it. How much does it cost for someone to buy it to get it to market?
So we priced it at about $299. The entire range is $99 for the base one. Believe it or not, up to about $1,500. So in terms of it, we are at the lower end. The 99 version starts at 99, but you have to add one button for every specific one you have on here. So it actually does get over 300. So we are definitely at the lower end of the spectrum.
I commend you for making something that's more accessible to more people. I think that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles, great job. Absolutely loved your presentation. As you were talking, I was thinking, is this a product or is this a business that you can scale and grow over time? And I'm wondering if you could speak to that and just talk a little bit about why some of these other large gaming companies would not have already come up with a one-handed design.
It's like, wow, that's a question I've never gotten before. But actually, I believe it, like I said, similar to the last one, it totally disrupts the market in the sense that it's specifically geared for gamers with disabilities that only have one hand. I believe the market growth can be in the fact that gamers will like a extra hand, so that way you can play video games, you can text message, you can play video game. This is water, but you can drink as well. So I believe we can grow it from the disability market to the casual gamer, and then even actually getting to esports gaming. So, and then one of the beauties of this, I believe as well, is we're not on one console. So being able to, market to the 100 million PS3 gamers, to the 120 million, Xbox gamers, and then even to the 1 billion PC gamers. The beauty of this is we're not restricted to one console. We can actually market over all three platforms.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We are now going to post the poll Squids. We're going to do something different this year. We're going to get the results in a few minutes of who won. I'm going to ask you your picks. We didn't do that last year. So hang on one second. I want to come right in right now and just say, man, great job by Ryhub and the committee in picking three fantastic startups. Once again, they're all excellent and they're representative of the type of entrepreneurship that's going on in our state. I mean, there's three here. We could have put so many more in here. Look at these great businesses. Look at the great opportunity to grow, create jobs, stimulate our economy. We need more of this, right? Someone's got to share this video with Dan McKee. All right, now I can personally say I know Andres. I know he's buttoned up. I love his deck. And I have kids who are bilingual. My wife is from Eastern Europe. She's from Poland. I know the difficulty in getting materials for them to read. Andres is solving a real problem. Hope, I love regenerative farming. I really do. That's a topic people need to read up on. I remember reading about 2 years ago about a farm in upstate New York. That was one of the early models for regenerative farming. And that is fantastic. Also, as a vegetarian, I love this. We had an entrepreneur here in the state founded a company called GoTef, who put their stuff in here. And I wound up becoming a customer of theirs. So please put me on your email list. And
Will do. Thank you.
Charles, I mean, what a noble cause, right? Because you're serving an accessibility issue, and that's fantastic. And at the very same time, I have two teens, including a teen son who is 15. And I can so see him he's left-handed. I can see him with that gamer in his left hand while he sits down on a Friday night and eats an entire large pizza on his own. So how do you pick from all this? By the way, Charles, I love the fact you're using Polaris. Great use of local resources. Big clap for the folks at Polaris. So we are going to, I'm waiting for the results to come in. The winner here is going to get a cash prize. $500, and the runner-ups are going to get a gift basket of goodies. And all the contestants are going to get 6 months free incubation at RyHub. If you already are incubated at RyHub, as we know earlier, Andreas said he's at RyHub. We're going to extend your incubation by another 6 months. And incubation is one of those great things the folks at RyHub bring to startups in our state. There's nothing like sitting among a bunch of other co-founders to really share experience and grow. So the results are in. Before I read these results, starting with Allison, going to Anne-Marie, and going to Natalie, who did you pick?
It hard. All three of you did a really, really great job, and I love each pitch and the energy behind it. I went with Charles just because I think accessibility is so important right now. And the question I had for him originally was, if you didn't have a disability, then what? But he brought up all kinds of other situations where breaking an arm or something. I'm not a gamer, so this is not my territory, but I can appreciate the market and thought he did a great job.
And I'm going to say this in advance. If all three of the squids picked 3 different startups, this was not planned. It's not rigged.
Yeah, no idea.
Anne-Marie.
Okay, so we're on a roll here then, Pat, because I'm going to choose story time. This was incredibly difficult. I really, what I want to do with all three of you is just learn more and talk to you and kind of dig into it more. All absolutely fascinating and all very different in a lot of ways. Andreas, I think EdTech is big. I think it's filling a need in globally and also with DEI, and also was very impressed with your low cost of production for each of those books. I am absolutely impressed, Charles, and hope with your businesses. Charles, I think your business, it was like moving toward the reason about a product or business. I would love to see, PlayStation comes in and says, I want this patent, right? I want to get this patent and do it. And then Hope, absolutely fascinated with the supplements marketplace, and that is absolutely growing as well. I do want to try it as much as I don't like mushrooms. I think that would be something I will buy and purchase. So great work all around.
Natalie.
Amazing. So I'm not just doing this so we have a split panel, but I do think that Laura has a tremendous amount of potential. I think that all the businesses are so different, it's really hard to compare them. But I think that the sort of dual supplement chocolate play is interesting. And I think having a recurring business model where it becomes a subscription gives you a lot of revenue opportunity.
Outstanding. And just to draw to the suspense, one last fact. Final fun fact. The fleet in the Port of Galilee in Narragansett is the second largest fishing fleet in all of New England, behind New Bedford, which happens to be the largest fishing fleet in the nation, and is ranked in, even though we're a little tiny Rhode Island, Galilee down in Narragansett is ranked 12th nationally for the total value of their catch, and calamari makes up over 40% of the value of Galilee's catch. All right, I'm actually out of the country this week. I'm hosting Rhode Island Startup Week abroad, so I could pretend there's a latency in the internet and delay this further, but I know everyone wants to know who won. So the winner, Laura Mighty Foods. Congratulations, Hope. And I want to reiterate what all the squids have said here. These are difficult. There's not like there's a clear winner in this. You're all awesome. And I can actually see myself buying in my household all of these products. So Hope, thanks. Are you currently incubated at RyHub?
We're actually sitting here right now using the office space.
Excellent.
But thank you so much. This is so exciting. We're so used to pitching to buyers and to, kind of pitch to, this diverse audience and, hear feedback. I mean, it's so critical to the process for us right now. So, we're both, incredibly excited to be in our home state and do this, manufacture here and have this team behind us. So thank you so much for choosing Laura, and we are happy to sample anybody on this call. So just shoot us an email. We'd love to give you guys samples before it gets to shelf.
Come to RyHub.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I will say, as for where I am located, merci, and look forward to doing this again next year. Thank you to all our squids. You guys are awesome. I'm going to go ahead and speak. It's not even my job to do so. I'm going to invite you all back next year. Thanks, everyone. And
Thank you,
enjoy the
Pat.
rest of your day. I'll see
Thank
everyone
you.
tomorrow. for
Thank you,
Kickstart
Leah, and
9
thank you,
a.m.
Mia.